I want to talk to you today about invalidation. Invalidation is something that people do that is manipulative in relationships, and it is a way of having control and keeping somebody from being able to be who they are or to talk about what bothers them. So let's talk about what invalidation means. Invalidation means that you show that something is not valid or true. Validation would mean that you are affirming that it is true. So if I validate what you're feeling, I say, oh, you look angry. You must be feeling angry. And the person says, yes, I'm angry. Or, wow, you're really happy that you got that promotion today at work. And the person says, yes, I'm ecstatic that I got that promotion at work. So I would be validating that person. But if I invalidate, I would be, oh, you're not angry. You might look angry, but you're not angry. So you're invalidating that person's feeling. Or I say, oh, you got a promotion at work. Well, you shouldn't be happy about that. That's not a big deal. I would be invalidating that person's achievement, that person's success, that person's happiness. So that should be a good example. Let's see. Invalidation is something a person does in a relationship by doing the following things: denying a person's feelings, perceptions, and experiences by suggesting that they're not real, that they're not accurate. So you say, no, that wasn't upsetting to you, even though you say that that was upsetting to you. No, that didn't hurt you, even though you're telling me that you were hurt. Okay, so you're invalidating the feelings, the perceptions, and the experiences. Who has a right to do that? Nobody. Nobody has a right to tell you that your feelings are not true, that your experiences were not the way that you experienced it, that your perceptions were not your perceptions, that no, that person's perception is right. Who can judge that by you? Nobody can judge that. Only you can. Next one, making fun of someone's personal expression of feelings and thoughts and dismissing them as ridiculous or unreasonable. And again, when somebody's making fun of you, they're saying, you're stupid, you're ridiculous. I'm judging you and telling you that you're wrong. Who can judge that in you? Who can tell you that you shouldn't feel that way, that that shouldn't be funny to you, or that shouldn't be a way of thinking about that and dismissing that? No one should be able to do that to you. Nobody should be able to invalidate your way of expressing something, your way of thinking about something. That's not reasonable, and yet invalidation does that. Next one, minimizing a person's accomplishments by making them out as not to be a big deal. I use that as an example when I first started, saying that you got a job promotion and the person is saying, that's not a big deal. You're not really happy about that. And who cares anyway? That's nothing. That, again, is putting somebody down. That's mean. That's not nice. That is not healthy. But that's invalidation. Next one, ignoring a person's expressions of feelings that need to be heard, implying that the person's needs don't matter. So when you invalidate a person and their expression and the fact that they need to speak or they need to be heard, you're invalidating that person's existence, actually. You're basically saying, I don't care that you need to speak. I don't care that that's important to you. I'm just going to pretty much invalidate you, make that whole thing not true for you by ignoring you, as if you never said it. And the last one is labeling someone. You label. Labeling means give a name, okay? Something such as stupid, dumb, ignorant, sensitive, crazy, so that the person doesn't have to respond or deal with you. So if the person just gives you that label, you're crazy, you're sensitive. They're saying, you don't matter. Everything that you feel and think is this, according to me, and I'm dismissing you. That's invalidating you. Why would people invalidate? That's a good question. Why would somebody want to do that? Well, obviously, by now, you should recognize they're not healthy, or they wouldn't be doing that. That's definitely not healthy. It's toxic, harmful to a relationship. Abusers do it to gain control. That's one tactic of verbal, emotional, mental and physically abusive relationships, spiritually abusive also. Manipulators do it to get what they want, because that's the whole purpose of a manipulator, is to get exactly what the manipulator wants. It's a way of getting needs met. People who are uncomfortable with your emotions do it. Narcissists do it. They don't accept any emotions in anyone else. People who have been shamed for their own emotions as children or as adults have a very difficult time allowing other people to have emotions. They immediately want to quash them and push them down, because when you share emotions, that person's uncomfortable and that person has to push them down so that they don't have to deal with them because of their own personal discomfort. And jealous people do it to make themselves feel better. So if a person is very competitive and narcissistic, spouses, parents, are children, very competitive, they're not going to let you one-up them or do better than them. So if you do better, they're going to immediately say, no big deal, invalidate it. I'm doing this, right? So jealous people. And then unempathetic people will do it because they can't empathize. They don't know how to. They don't want to. They don't want to feel what you're feeling, whether that's being happy, sad, any of those things. Invalidating, super unhealthy. If it's being done to you, you need to recognize it, because I can promise you it's been done to me. It does not feel good. It's painful. It usually happens not in isolation, but with a whole lot of other things that people do in really unhealthy relationships. If you invalidate people for any of those reasons without even realizing it, maybe your children, maybe it's your natural instinct to just kind of quash their feelings because you were not allowed to express your feelings as a child. Or maybe you're a fixer. Codependent fixers will do that because they're so uncomfortable with having other people feel the things that they feel that they think they instantly have to fix them. In fixing, you are invalidating that person's emotions. You're saying, oh, you're upset, let me make it better, instead of saying, oh, I see that you're upset. Or maybe you tell somebody, oh, you don't need to be upset. It's kind of a fixing mode. Oh, let me tell you how not to be upset. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. That's invalidating without even realizing it. You think you're helping, but you're actually invalidating by saying, don't be upset. It's not that big of a deal. When your kid comes home from school and you say, oh, and you try to fix it, you think, oh, my kid's hurting, I don't want my kid to hurt. And the kid says, I'm really upset because Johnny tripped me at school today. And you say, oh, don't let Johnny get you upset. That's not that big of a deal. It's okay. You're kind of invalidating that kid, even though you're really trying to be a good parent. Without realizing it, you're invalidating. So, kind of give it some thought. Think about, do you do this without realizing it? Do you do this because of one of those reasons that I said? Or is it being done to you? So again, invalidation, to say something is not true, is not valid, is not right, is not a healthy way of acting in relationships. So thank you for watching this video on Change My Relationship. I hope that you'll watch more. I've got lots of videos up on abuse. If you're in abusive relationships and you need to know more, I would really suggest that you look at some of my videos on abuse, because to be knowledgeable about abuse is the way that you get strong enough to get away from abuse. Okay? Thank you.